right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
Bumped out of West County.
To put these things down the shoulders was absurd.
Tonight, MoDOT reverses course on a controversial and costly road safety project.
Rain chances return, but at least the chance is more limited this time. How long that rain chance lingers and why this system should have very little impact on your Mother's Day weekend.
Our top story, the tragic death of a young football star.
To get there to see what was happening, it was very sad.
Tonight, his heartbroken coach shares his grief and memories.
This has been a very rough day today.
Tonight, the boy's father is in jail, charged with endangering the welfare of a child. Good evening, I'm Mike Bush.
And I'm Kelly Jackson. Police say 2 children were playing with guns when one of them went off. 5 on Your Side's Brent Solomon shows us how that 11-year-old is being remembered tonight. Brent.
A standout athlete who had a gift. That's how Marshawn Futrell Jr.'s coach describes him tonight. He's not the only one devastated by his sudden death.
Because that's one of mine.
When reality hits, it's sometimes hard to find the words.
I've received hundreds of phone calls. I've talked to 40, 50 different parents trying to explain how do they explain this to their kid.
Marshawn played football here at the Matthew Dickey Boys and Girls Club, and he was good.
He never wanted to finish last in a lap. We were doing sprint suicides. He wanted to be in the top in everything he did. God was the limit for Marshawn. He was one of the hardest working young men I've ever seen do this.
Officers found him Monday night here on Longford Drive in North County. His father, Marshawn Futrell Sr., now charged. Court documents reveal police found 12 guns between the home and a nearby car, many of them loaded, none of them secured. A relative sharing on social media, "Our family is heartbroken and in deep mourning. He was not even 12 years old, yet his life was already shining so brightly. An exceptional athlete with a natural gift for football, he was rising fast. Recognized across the nation for his talent, drive, and spirit. But beyond his accomplishments, he was full of life, laughter, and love. This sudden loss has left a void we can't explain. We are especially lifting up his father and grandfather, who are carrying a weight no one should ever have to bear."
Well, I would say to the family, we're here for you. Let's not let Marshawn pass in vain. Hope that we get something from this. You know, we always can take a negative to make a positive. Teach about gun safety, maybe, so we don't have kids playing with guns no matter what. Because at the end of the day, they're kids.
Many of the little boy's teammates were supposed to play in a baseball game today, but that game was canceled since they're all mourning right now. The boy's father is being held on a $100,000 bond. Turning now to the weather impact forecast. It's a clear and pleasant night in St. Louis. However, unsettled weather is returning over the next 2 days. Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell is tracking the timing and chances of more scattered showers.
Even though it's unsettled weather, it's not unsettling weather per se. We're not expecting any strong storms. We're not expecting a whole lot of wind. And for most of us, not a whole lot of rain. It's a pretty quiet evening out at Lambert. Managed to get to 73 degrees this afternoon. We're in the same vicinity again tomorrow. The showers, well, as they've been pushing towards St. Louis tonight, they've tended to fade a bit. We're fighting dry air here around the St. Louis area. So this initial wave, markedly unimpressive, but there is the chance that we will have a little bit of rain arriving just in time for tomorrow morning's rush hour. It would be very much on the light side, we think. Temperatures are in the mid-50s out the door tomorrow morning, and we will jump back into the mid to upper 60s by lunchtime tomorrow. So our shower chances Wednesday and Thursday, maybe a couple of rumbles of thunder tomorrow evening. Most of us see light rainfall amounts. There will be a few downpours in select locations. Where exactly they end up? Well, if it's in your backyard, maybe a quarter to a half an inch of rain. Most of us are not going to see that, and mainly dry into this weekend, which of course is Mother's Day weekend. We're talking about that in a few minutes, Kelly.
All right, Scott. Traffic calming devices causing chaos in West St. Louis County. MoDOT is now ripping out bump outs along Clarkson and Long Roads just 6 months after they were installed. 5 on Your Side's Laura Barcheski takes us to one city where officials say they weren't even consulted.
Clarkson Valley Mayor Sue McNamara was driving down Long Road when she noticed these bump outs popping up all along the shoulders.
My husband and my first thoughts were, oh, do they know what are the bicyclists going to do? Because they have so many cycling events down there, and it narrowed the curb to the point where people who were on bicycles were going to be at great risk.
Then they started showing up on Clarkson Road right outside their city hall.
We're not really understanding how this project got approved and why the money was spent on the bump outs versus so many other things that it could have helped our communities, making our communities safer. There's so many other things like, well, gosh, how about sidewalks?
McNamara says MoDOT informed her they never held a listening session or public meeting for the area about the project, which is standard practice. Otherwise, they would have heard numerous concerns that became a reality.
There's nowhere to get off if you have an emergency vehicle coming up behind you. You have no place to go.
Bump outs like this one are supposed to be used as traffic calming measures. The mayor of Clarkson Valley says she's actually glad they're going away because they caused a lot more problems than they were worth.
They threw snow behind the bumpers, and I saw a number of residents, number of pedestrians and bicyclists who tried to ride up and down Clarkson Road, couldn't go behind the bumpers because of the large piles of snow, and weren't able to stay out of the street.
While they're happy to see them go, they're very concerned about the taxpayer money they feel was wasted putting them in and now taking them out.
I would like an accounting at some point to know exactly what was spent throughout this whole project.
Reporting in Clarkson Valley, Laura Barczewski, 5 on Your Side.
MoDOT sent a statement to 5 on Your Side saying the removal should be complete by early summer and plans to hold listening sessions with residents in the area next year to look at future safety improvements.
Tonight, we're learning more about a fiery crash in Kansas that killed 8 people, including 3 members of a family from Chesterfield.
We're going to have 2 vehicles, both on fire.
This is a head-on collision. Both vehicles are fully engulfed.
This crash happened Sunday, about an hour southwest of Kansas City. Police say a driver tried to pass a slower car on the 2-lane highway and hit a Subaru head-on. Good Samaritans tried to break windows and get inside to save the victims.
All I did was try and pray and hope that God could give us some type of rain, something just to slow it down, to give Greeley and Greeley Fire Department enough time to get there.
John, Madeline, and Norlene Elliott from Chesterfield were inside the Subaru. They died along with their driver, who was from Iowa. 2 14-year-olds and 2 adults in the other car died. Some of the victims were members of an Oklahoma basketball team. They were traveling home after a tournament in Kansas City.
Tonight, state health officials confirm a 3rd case of measles in Missouri. The latest case is in New Madrid County in the Boot Heel. And tonight we are learning more about the infected person who visited the St. Louis Aquarium last week. City health officials say an unvaccinated adult from Illinois visited the aquarium the afternoon of April 30th between 1 and 6 p.m. They are now contacting people who may have been exposed, including a group of students who were on a field trip.
We haven't seen a lot of people come forward, which can be reassuring. But like I said earlier today, it may take time for symptoms to develop. And some people always anticipate that rash, the classic rash. That doesn't happen in all cases.
It can take 7 to 14 days for symptoms to develop. Health officials say if you're vaccinated, you should be protected. A decades-old problem is coming to light again. What to do about so many vacant buildings in the city of St. Louis.
And new tonight, 5 on Your Side's Robert Townsend takes a closer look at the eyesores neighbors in one North Side community are simply sick of.
Drive across the city of St. Louis and it's not uncommon to occasionally see a few vacant houses. But trek to the Walnut Park area near West Florissant and Genevieve in North City and you'll see rows and rows of these unsightly sites.
Bad, really bad.
Adeline Harris and her family moved to Plover Avenue in this neighborhood 56 years ago.
Oh, I love it. We had nice neighbors, but it just went down.
Neighbors say over the years, people moved out for a variety of reasons.
A lot of people lost their homes and mortgage went up. I don't think it's about 2 or 3 houses over there that somebody live in it.
When you look at this, how does this make you feel? sad.
Lonza Patrick is the chairman of the 13th Ward Housing Committee. He also lives on Plover. Patrick says illegal drugs forced out families too.
They was run off leaving their properties, and they would start being occupied by unwanted individuals.
For decades now, some vacant properties have been neglected. Others are standing shells or just piles of rubble. Homeowners say it's hurting their property values.
This house here has been vacant for about 5 years, and these houses here have been vacant a little longer than that.
According to the St. Louis Development Corporation, currently there are more than 9,000 vacant buildings in the city of St. Louis. About 2,000 are in the 13th Ward. Since 2019, there have been nearly 600 demolitions in this area.
How long are they going to leave these properties vacant?
Do you all feel like you're forgotten?
I do.
Mayor Kara Spencer wants people who live near these eyesores to know city officials are well aware of the problem. Spencer says they're doing everything they can to tear down these old structures.
We are focusing a development strategy on investing in neighborhoods like Walnut Park.
$1 million makeovers, the mayor says, will become realities, thanks in part to federal funds from the American Rescue Plan Act.
We need to be thinking strategically about how to build and not just tear down parts of our community. Some of these funds need to be spent by the end of next year, and we're going to make sure that we get that done.
We need some help.
Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
And if you have concerns about a vacant residential or commercial building in your St. Louis neighborhood, all you have to do is call the Citizen Service Bureau. That number is 314-622-4800 to report it.
Tomorrow, the community is invited to honor a fallen St. Louis police officer. The name of Officer David Lee will be unveiled at the police memorial statue. He was killed in the line of duty back in September when he was hit by a car while responding to a crash. The ceremony begins at 11 a.m. The statue is located outside the Civil Courts building at Tucker and Market. Last weekend, Officer Lee was added to the Missouri Law Enforcement Memorial's Wall of Honor. He will be added to the National Memorial in Washington, D.C. this weekend.
Just hours from now, voting begins in a sacred selection cloaked in secrecy.
We really pray for the process and the Holy Spirit to work through the process.
The St. Louis ties to the papal conclave. The real ID becoming reality at midnight.
It's been ridiculous.
The whole process has been difficult.
Tonight, the turbulence at the DMV as Homeland Security diverts from its original mandate.
The level of weather turbulence a bit more manageable this week for sure. How long we have to wait because of this system to get the warm air surging back into the bi-state. We'll see you in 6 minutes.
Here's a live look at the Vatican tonight, where in less than 5 hours, the papal conclave will get underway.
It's the sacred and highly secretive process to select a new pope. Large crowds have already gathered in St. Peter's Square in anticipation of a new leader of the Catholic Church. 133 cardinals under the age of 80 will be locked inside the Sistine Chapel until a successor to Pope Francis is chosen. They need a 2/3 consensus. The voting members of the College of Cardinals includes Cardinal Timothy Dolan, the Archbishop of New York, and a St. Louis native, Cardinal Raymond Burke, the former Archbishop of St. Louis, and America's first black cardinal, Wilton Gregory, the former Bishop of Belleville.
We represent, as Catholics in the U.S., 7% of the worldwide population. So it's a small group, but yet we do have a voice there. And no doubt Cardinal Dolan is there prayerfully considering among the cardinals who it is he desires to lead the church in the future. And so we do, in a way, have a native son who has a voice. It's exciting.
The Archdiocese of St. Louis will celebrate a papal conclave mass tomorrow. It'll begin at noon at the Cathedral Basilica.
In less than 2 hours, the long-awaited Real ID deadline goes into effect. Starting tomorrow, you will need the upgraded ID or another approved form of identification to fly or enter federal government buildings. However, today, the Homeland Security Chief clarified those without one will still be able to fly, but with stipulations. 5 on your side's Megan Kernan has more on the turbulence you could face at the license office and the airport.
2 hours later, we're still here, so
yeah,
it's been a process.
Long lines and plenty of paperwork. people are racing to meet the Real ID deadline.
As long as you have all your stuff, you're fine, but it's the process of getting everything together that's burdensome.
Many say the real challenge is getting all the documents right.
It's been ridiculous.
The whole process has been difficult, but making sure that the mail pieces were correct was the most difficult thing. I think now that we have it all settled, after 3 days of trial and error, it's finally working out.
To get a Real ID, you'll need to bring your birth certificate or passport, proof of your social security number, 2 pieces of mail with proof of your address, like a utility bill, and a marriage license if your name has changed.
Such a hassle if you're a woman, because if you don't have your name changed and all of the information there, it really gets to be a hassle.
We don't want people to be dismayed when they get there and they don't have everything that they need. Don't be stressed out. I'm sure you have the documents at home. You just have to gather them all together and get to the DMV.
If you don't have a Real ID and you're flying, TSA recommends arriving 3 hours early, just in case you have to go through extra screening.
Of course, if you got an early flight out, that's going to be even more time that you're going to have to be there, and it's just a hassle.
For those who've gotten their Real IDs, it's a sigh of relief.
I'm just glad I'm through the process.
It has been an unnecessary step overall, but I am glad to have it done with.
Megan Kernan, 5 on your side.
If you're flying and still need a Real ID, remember it can take about a week or so for it to be mailed.
This year, Scott Air Force Base's open house and STEM Expo has been grounded. Officials say the June 14th air show has been canceled due in part to budget reasons. Held every 2 years, it's one of the rare times the base opens to the public. The base says it looks forward to hosting a full air show and open house in 2027 in celebration of its 110th anniversary.
Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell's here with the weather impact forecast. I hope you enjoyed today because could be a little raindrops.
Yes,
tomorrow.
just a few. And some of us may actually end up with a downpour tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, but not everybody is going to see that. It's highly variable as to what will transpire here in the next 48 hours. We are ready for some rain chances, and we know it's going to be relatively mild. Tomorrow morning will not be as chilly as it was this morning for sure. So we have these scattered showers, a few rumbles of thunder possible, especially as we head into tomorrow afternoon. That's when the isolated heavier showers and rumbles of thunder seem to be a little more likely. Of course, that would be right around the time where the kiddos are trying to do their evening baseball activities and outdoor sports. Localized rainfall of a ½ inch or more, but the weekend still looks like it's mainly dry and warm at this point. Of course, it's Mother's Day weekend. Let's explore why we say mainly dry, because, you know, we had an interesting last weekend that was supposed to be mainly dry. The problem with that problem has left. Now it's in the northeast. But look here, we have more unsettled weather down to our south. This, too, is a cutoff system, so it's not an especially fast mover. We saw the clouds increasing this afternoon into tonight. We will continue to see the rain trying to make it into St. Louis. But as we head into tomorrow, it's really this surge that's back to the west in the upper levels of the atmosphere that will drive some energy in here and try to enhance our chances for some showers and some thunderstorms. Now, that upper level system, it's meandering here close to St. Louis. As we go into Thursday night into Friday, where does it go? It heads down towards New Orleans. It gets stuck over this area Saturday into Sunday. Not normal for this time of year. And then it starts to drift back to the north on Sunday. As long as it stays to our south like that on Sunday, we will have a nice Mother's Day. If it starts drifting back a little sooner, then we have to increase the chances for rain to our south. This is tomorrow. Anything during the morning's light. What we see later in the day towards the evening hours, this may be some heavier downpours in a few places. It tends to fade as we head into tomorrow night. Going into Thursday, a few more scattered showers across the region. Overall, the system starts to slide to the south. None of this weather is in a hurry. This whole pattern is a slow, pesky pattern. Doesn't want to change. Rainfall amounts, yeah, they're hugely variable across the area, depending on whether you get under one of those showers or thunderstorms that has a downpour. Temperatures on Saturday should be low to mid 70s. Sunday, mid to upper 70s. And we do think as we head south of St. Louis, that's where you have the better chance of seeing the thicker clouds and the rain. Hour by hour tomorrow, There it is, stepping right up into the lower 70s tomorrow afternoon. Here are your next 7 days. And again, the rain chance tomorrow is more concentrated late in the day into the evening hours. And then on Thursday, much more scattered. Weekend rain chances exceedingly low at this point, unless that system comes at us from New Orleans. Yeah, we want New Orleans to have the cutoff low. We don't want it.
No, we don't. We've had enough of that. Scott, thanks. Corey is here with sports.
Well, it was a pitching spectacle tonight at Busch Stadium, and the man leading the Blues feels just like the rest of us after Game 7. Sports is up next after the break.
Not that I was trying to change my swing, I was just trying to improve it, and I think it worked out pretty well last year. So just trying to get back to that, and I think I'm taking steps in the right direction.
That was Alec Burleson pregame today, talking about his swing. Whatever he's doing, it's working. Burley has homers in back-to-back games, and he had the biggest hit at Busch Stadium tonight against the Pirates. Fantastic pitching matchup on the mound. Matthew Liberatore has gotten his chance and run with it. Paul Skeens dominates just about every team in baseball except the Cardinals, and these two were in fantastic form tonight. Liberatore struck out the side in the first to set the tone. Skeen answers with a couple of nasty pitches to fool Nolan Arenado and then Jordan Walker. Scoreless until the 6th, Ke'Bryan Hayes shoots one to the wall. That is going to chase O'Neill Cruz home, and the Pirates strike first off Liberatore. But remember Burley, 2 out, 2 on in the bottom of the 6th. Skeen throws his 101st pitch of the night, and it ends his night. Burleson sends it down the left field line to chase home 2 runs and give the Cards the lead. Yeah, I think he's just a little bit pumped out on second base after that one. Liberatore goes another inning for a 7-inning, 1-run, 8-strikeout outing. And look who's on for the save, Gordon Graceffo. He slams the door for his first career save, a 2-1 Cardinals win, and their first 4-game winning streak of the season.
There's just a conviction. He doesn't give a damn who's in the box. He's going to go right after you. And we saw that tonight at an extremely high level. Yeah, that was fun to watch.
Kind of felt like I had everything working from the first pitch and was able to hold on to that through the 7th. So felt like I had a lot of weapons at my disposal tonight and executed a lot of pitches.
It has been about 48 hours since the end of Game 7 in Winnipeg, but I'm starting to think that sick feeling in my stomach is never quite going to go away. Today we got to hear from the Blues as they try to put their heartbreak behind them. In the past 2 days, we've all tried to look at the bright side of things. It was a season that exceeded expectations and got the fan base fired up about the future, but not even the president and GM can fully get over how this year ended, at least not for a while.
They came together, they grew, but we're in the winning business, and we left something on the table that I don't know if you get over it ever. I don't know if you ever get over it. I know it's not going to be this summer because it was right there and we let it go. But for the organization, I have to let it go. It will never leave my mind, but I have to let it go and I have to start building. So that's where we're at today.
This 5 on Your Side St. Louis City SC coverage is sponsored by Together Credit Union.
City SC gets a break from their MLS schedule to take part in the U.S. Open Cup tomorrow at Energizer Park. City hasn't won a game since March 15th, but tomorrow should be the night. They're hosting a lower division club in Union, Omaha, who they beat in this same tournament just 2 years ago. Here's what Olaf hopes to get out of the Open Cup.
It is an opportunity to win something, but also an opportunity to put in a good performance, hopefully get some goals and the 3 points. So it's just the first game in the cup for us. So we're not looking too far ahead at the moment. It's just focus on winning tomorrow, and we'll take it from there.
There was a special guest at City SC training today. On June 15th, IndyCar star Joseph Newgarden will be going for his 6th career win in the Bommarito 500 at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Newgarden is quite comfortable in St. Louis and has amassed a fan base here, but he loves to hear some jeers as well.
You have a successful Indianapolis 500 that always brings people on board, and we want them. We want them to pull for us here, but you also want the fans that want to see you lose too, right? Like you go to a good soccer game like in this stadium, and you want the good and the bad. You want to see people pulling for the team. You also want that that counter side that wants to see you not do well. That gives you the motivation.
Anything for a little extra motivation.
Keeps you grounded.
Corey, thanks.
A mother sucker punched by a sweet delivery. The reason she no longer has sour grapes. All right, check this out. Officers with the Pennsylvania State Police turned into bird wranglers. Police say either an emu or an ostrich escaped from its owner's trailer and made its way onto the Pennsylvania Turnpike. As you can see, it took them about 15 minutes to capture the big, flightless bird.
A Kentucky woman was shocked with a massive dum-dum drop on her front porch. Amazon delivered 70,000 of the iconic suckers. She says her son, who has a developmental delay, put in the $4,000 order on her phone. After some back and forth, Amazon eventually refunded all of her money. And there you have it. 5 on your side at 10. We're always streaming on 5+.
We'll see you tomorrow.